Welcome to the Madison Builder Podcast. Today is Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. Today we're going to recap the college basketball, NBA, and NHL from yesterday and look ahead to today's game. Same for soccer. Then I'll do my NFL New Year's resolutions, which I forgot to do on yesterday's show. News notes and best bets. So small show today in terms of things to talk about. College basketball is where we'll begin. We will go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to today's games. UNLV beats Bethesda 112-56. Utah State beats Air Force 88-60. Sam Houston beats Dallas 93-53. Grambling beats Bible Studies 84-72. Maryland Eastern beats Clark Summit 95-37. Number 4 UConn beats DePaul 85-56. Number 1 Purdue beats Maryland 67-53. Number 5 Tennessee beats Norfolk State 87-50. Number 8, North Carolina beats Pitt 70-57. Number 17, FAU beats East Carolina 79-64. Number 21, Wisconsin beats Iowa 83-72. Wake beats BC 84-78. Alabama State beats Johnson, Florida 84-53. Creighton beats Georgetown 77-60. Kent State beats Ball State 82-69. Buffalo beats Central Michigan 76-64. Bowling Green beats Eastern Michigan 92-90 in OT. Western Michigan beats Miami of Ohio 83-74. Toledo beats Ohio 86-77. Harvard beats Albany 76-71. Vermont beats Brown 71-70. Incarnate Word beats OLLU 83-74. Number 18 Baylor beats Cornell 98-79. Murray State beats UIC 85-73. Southern Illinois beats Belmont 73-63. Kansas State beats Chicago State 62-55. Akron beats Northern Illinois 73-51. Wyoming beats San Jose State 75-73. St. John's beats Butler 86-70. Number 9, Illinois beats Northwestern 96-66. Number 14, Duke beats Syracuse 86-66. Number 25, Auburn beats Penn 88-68. SMU beats Charlotte 66-54. UBA beats UTSA 78-76. Drake beats Illinois State 88-71. And number 13, Colorado State beats New Mexico 76-68. All right, larger window for today, but obviously the larger window is tomorrow. All right, 4 o'clock, Yale Howard. My line's Yale 3.25 total 148 and 17/20ths, and 5.5 144.5 over. SC Upstate, UNC Asheville at 6. My line's Asheville 6.5 total 147 and 7/10. And it's 9.5 and 141.5 over. Fox Sports 1 6:30 St. All number 23 Providence. My line's Providence by 7 total 141. And it's Providence by 6.5 total of I do not see the total. Oh, there it is, 137.5. I'm over. So 3 overs out of the gate. Longwood Winthrop. My line is Winthrop by 3 total 142 and 19/20. It says 2.5 and 141.5. Slight over. George Mason LaSalle. My line's George Mason by 1/2 total 145.25, and we have 3.5 and 138.5 over. 7 o'clock Army Lafayette. My line is Lafayette 2.25 total 129 3/10. And it is 2.5 and 122.5 over. All over so far. ESPN 2, Louisville, Virginia. My line's Virginia by 13 and 1/8 total 136. And it is 14.5 and 127.5 over. Georgia Tech, Florida State, ACC Network. My line is FSU by 2.5 total 146 and 2/5. And it's 3.5 and 142.5 over. Evansville, Indiana State. My line is Indiana State by 8 3/8 total 155 and 7/20. And it is 14.5 and 158.5. I'm going to take Evansville to cover. High Point, Radford. My line is Radford 7.25 total 148 and 7/10, and it is 1.5 146.5. Lay the points. Presbyterian Charleston Southern. My line is Charleston Southern by 1.5 total 144.5. And it is Presbyterian 2.5 total 141.5. So this is a little bit of a difficult one. So I'm going to take Charleston Southern plus the points and even money outright. Big Ten Network, Rutgers, Ohio State. My line's Ohio State 1.8 total 136 and 11/20, and it's 9.5 and 132.5. I'm going to take Rutgers plus the points. Chicago State, Oklahoma State. My line's Oklahoma State 27.5 total 134 and 2/5. And we have 17.5 and 134.5. Laying the points. BU Navy. My line's Pick'em in 131 and 19/20. And it's 2.5 for Navy, total 129.5. I'm going to take BU plus the points. Lehigh American, my line's American 4.25 total 148 and 30 and 3/20. And it is 1.5 and 145.5. This is a little bit of a hard one. I'm going to lay with American. Dayton Davidson, CBS Sports Network, my line's Dayton 3.125 total 137 and 7/10. And it is 4.5 and 136.5. Slightly Davidson. Fordham, George Washington. My line's George Washington 7.5 total 148. And it is, let's see, 3.5 and 149.5. I'm going to lay with George Washington. Duquesne, UMass. My line is Duquesne 2.5 total 151 and 1/5. And it is UMass 1.5 total 154.5. Oof. I'm going to do Duquesne plus the points minus 108. St. Joe's, Rhode Island. My line's St. Joe's by 6 total 143 and 7/20, and it's 5.5 and 144.5, so very, very close. Slight under. Under. Loyola Chicago, St. Louis. My line is St. Louis 2.5 total 142 and 17/20, and it's 1.5 and 144.5. Slight under. Loyola Colgate. My line's Colgate 10.75 total 137 and 9/10, and it is 11.5 and 133.5. Over. Holy Cross Bucknell. My line's pick and 138 and 7/20, and it's 6.5 and 134.5. Oof, I'm taking Holy Cross to cover. That is a lot of points. West Carolina, the Citadel. My line's West Carolina 5 total 137.25, and it's 2.5 and 137.5. Ooh, actually like the laying the points on the road. That's different. Furman, Greensboro. My line is Greensboro 5 3/8 total 156.5, and we have 2.5 and 151.5. Over. VMI Wofford. Line's Wofford 8.25 total 148 3/4, and it's 15.5 and 151.5. That's a lot of points. Give me VMI in the points. Mercer East, Tennessee State. My line's Mercer as a 3-point dog total 139 and 13/20, and we got 4.5 and 135.5. Over. Chattanooga, Sanford. My line is Sanford 6 5/8 total 156 and 13/20, and it is by the way, Chattanooga, Sanford 7:30. 8.5, 160.5. Under. Marshall, UL Monroe. My line is Marshall by an 8 total 143, and 3/4, and it's 6.5 and 145.5. Oof, giving you Monroe plus the point. Number 16, Clemson, Miami, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Lions, Miami, 3.5 total 153, and it is Clemson 1.5 total 150. Oof, that's crazy. Give me Miami plus the points and even money outright. Bradley, Valpo. Mine's Bradley, 8 total 139 and 7/10. And it's 10.5 and 135.5. Over. The Big Sky Summit Challenge. We have a couple of those. Montana, North Dakota State. My line's Montana by 1/4 total 143 and 7/10. And it's 1.5, 142.5. Very, very close. Slightly into North Dakota State. Northern Colorado, North Dakota. My line's North Dakota 7 1/4 total 150 and 3/10. It's 1.5, 150.5. I'm laying it with North Dakota. That's way too low. Northern Arizona, Omaha. My line's Omaha 5 1/4 total 142 and 7/20. And it's 2.5 and 145.5. Under. Eastern Washington, South Dakota. Mine's East Washington 2.5 total 151 in the 5th. And it's 6.5 and 153.5. Give me South Dakota in the points. 8:30 Fox Sports 1 Xavier Nova. My line's Nova 6.5 total 140 and 19/20. And it's 8.5 and 140.5. Taking Xavier in the points. 9 o'clock ESPN 2 Stanford UCLA. My line's UCLA 4 3/8 total 142 and 2/5. And it is 4.5 and 139.5. Over. NC State, Notre Dame, ACC Network. My line's NC State 2 and an 1/8 total 139 and 3/5. And it's 4.5 and 137.5. Notre Dame in the points. ESPNU Rice Tulane. My line is 29 and an 1/8 total 158 and 3/4, and it's 8.5 and 162.5 under. Northern Iowa, Missouri State. My line is Missouri State by 3 3/8 total 146 and 3/4, and it's 2.5 and 143.5 over. Big Network and Nebraska wins. Nebraska 1.5 to 146 and 2/5, and it is 4.5 and 150.5. Under. St. Bonaventure, VCU, CBS Sports Network. My line is VCU by 3/8 to 139 and 7/20, and it is 4.5 and 133.5. Over. More Big Sky Summit Challenge. UMKC Sac State. My line Sac State 7 3/4 to 141 and 13/20. And it's 1.5 and 137.5. I'm laying the points with Sac State. St. Thomas, Idaho. My line is St. Thomas 6 3/4 to 134 and 17/20. And it's 5.5 and 131.5 over. South Dakota State, Weber State. My line's Weber 6.5 to 138 and 3/4. And it's 6.5 and 141.5 under. Idaho State, Denver 9:30. My line is Denver 3.5 to 149 and 7/20. And it's 8.5 and 151.5. I'm taking Idaho State in the points. Oral Roberts, Montana State. My line's Oral Roberts 2 3/4 to 145 and 2/5. And it's Montana State 1.5 total 143.5. Well, technically a pick'em. But I'm gonna take Oral Roberts plus 1.5 outright. 10 o'clock Pac-12 whatever. Cal SC. My line is SC by 9 total 152 and 3/4. And it's 8.5 and 151.5. Oof. Slight over. And last but not least, 10:30 Fox Sports 1 Fresno State, San Diego State. My line is San Diego State by 11 3/8 total 145. And it's 15.5 and 136.5. Over would be my play there. Now we'll recap the NBA from yesterday and look ahead to today's games. Sixers over the Bulls, 110-97. Grizzlies over the Spurs, 106-98. Pelicans destroy the Nets 112-85. Thunder beat the Celtics 127-123. What was the best game of the night? Hornets with a 111-104 outright upset of the Sacramento Kings. And the Warriors beat the Magic 121-115. Very big window tonight. 7 o'clock. Wizards Cavs went. Cavs 8 3/4. Total of 233 4/5. And we have let's see. Cavs 9.5 total 239.5. Bucks Pacers. My line's Bucks by a quarter till 246 and 19-20. So this is a rematch of the semifinals in the in-season tournament, and it's Bucks 2.5 total 258.5. Oh my God, that's way too high. Thunderhawks 7:30. My line is the Thunder by 4.25 till 243.5, and it's 2 and 247.5. Under. 8 o'clock. Nets Rockets. My line is the Rockets 5.25 till 218 7/10, and it is 6.5 and 222.5. Under. Raptors Grizz. My line is Grizz 3.25 till 220 3/4, and it's 1 and 232.5. Way under. 8:30 or no, still 8 o'clock. Pelicans T-Wolves. My T-Wolves by 7 till 216 3/4, and it's 6.5 and 223.5. Under. 8:30 ABC. Bulls Knicks. Why is this game on ABC? The Bulls don't belong on ABC. The Knicks do, but the Bulls don't. A little favoritism for the big markets, and especially the Knicks if Mike Breen calls the game. My line is Knicks by a whopping 16, total 221 7/10, and it's 9 and 220.5. I'm laying the 9 with the Knicks. Blazers Mavs. My line is Mavs 12 3/4, total 230 in the 20th, and it's 11 and 234.5. Under. Clippers Suns at 9. My line is Clippers 2 3/4, total 228 7/10, and it's 3 and 233.5. Under. No Durant. Pistons Jazz. My line's Jazz 11 total 231 9/10. And why is this locked? Right now it says Utah 8.5. Total 239.5. Under. Way under. 10 o'clock ESPN Heat Lakers. This should be the game that should be on ABC. They should have put Bulls Knicks 7 o'clock ESPN and 8:30 ABC Heat Lakers. And Mike Breen and company should be at this game. Granted, Lakers are 500, but still a better game than Bulls Knicks. But yet again, favoritism towards the voice of the league doing his own team on ABC. So Lakers 3 3/4 till 227 and the 20th, and it is 6.5 and 226.5. I'm gonna take the Heat plus the points. I think it's too high. That's funny because I've been on the Lakers in terms of giving them out, but I'm against them here. And then Magic Kings. My line's Kings 5.5 total 227 1/4 and 6.5. Or sorry, 4 and 233. Under. So a ton of unders today. Now I'm gonna recap the hockey from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's hockey games. Bruins over Jackets 4-1, Canes over Rangers 6-1, Caps over Defense 4-3, Preds over the Blackhawks 3-0, Habs over the Stars 4-3, Flames over the Wild 3-1, Jets over the Bolts 4-2, Avs over the Isles 5-4 OT, Oilers over the Flyers 5-2, Panthers over the Coyotes 4-1, Canucks over the Senators 6-3, Leafs over the Kings 3-0, and the Red Wings over the Sharks 5-3. All right, only 2 games, 7:30 TNT, Devils, Capitals. Vitek, Vanacek potentially back in D.C. Devils are favored, minus 152. Washington's plus 126, over under 6.5. Overs minus 104, and there's minus 118. Devils minus 1.5 is plus 50. Caps plus 1.5 is minus 182. I like the over. And last but least, 9 o'clock, Leafs, Ducks. Leafs minus 5, Ducks plus 168, over under 6.5, overs minus 128, unders plus 104. Leafs -1.5 is +116. Ducks +1.5 is -140. This is a hard one, but I'm going to lay the 1.5 with the Leafs at +116. Yesterday, and look ahead to today's notable soccer games. We'll begin with La Liga, Rayo over Getafe 2-0, Real Sociedad Alaves 1-1 draw, Valencia over Villarreal 3-1. And then today at 11 a.m. we have Granada and Cadiz. Just gonna quickly pull up the odds. Cadiz is +250, Granada's +120, and the draw +10. Granada is in 19th, and Cadiz is in 17th. Cadiz is just better. I'm going to take them at +250. 115, Celta Vigo and Betis. Celta Vigo +135, Betis 2-1. The draw's +220. Celta Vigo is in 18th, and Betis is in 7th, and Betis is much better. I'm going to take them at +135. Real Madrid and Mallorca. Real Madrid's -550, Mallorca's 11-1. The draw's +550. For this one, we are going to go with a bold over 3.5 goals at +168. And then 3:30 you have Girona and Atletico. The second and third place teams in the league, so that's awesome. Girona +150, Madrid +165. The draw's +250. I'm going to go with the draw here at +250. Okay, Premier League. West Ham Brighton 0-0 draw. Coppa Italia, Milan over Cagliari 4-1. And then today at noon you have Atalanta and Sassuolo. I'm going to quickly pull up those odds. Atalanta -250, Sassuolo 6-1. The draw's +360. I like over 3.5 goals at +122. And 3 o'clock games, Roma and Cremonese. Roma -270, Cremonese +650. The draw's +370. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at -116. We're just going to do some other leagues real quick. Premiership, we talked about it earlier on yesterday's podcast. Dundee St. Johnstone postponed. Hibernian and Motherwell 2-2 draw. Hearts over Livingston 2-1. Rangers over Kilmarnock 3-1. Aberdeen over Ross County 3-0. And Celtic over St. Mirren 3-0. And then the Pro League. We don't have anything. So we really don't have much soccer. Liga MX Torino, Clausura. That begins Friday the 12th. So yeah, that's really it for soccer today. All right, now I'm gonna do NFL New Year's resolutions for each team. I was supposed to do this on the podcast yesterday, but I forgot. So we're going to do football today, baseball tomorrow, Friday we'll do the NBA, and then on Monday next week we'll do the NHL. So without further ado, here we go. In alphabetical order. The Arizona Cardinals New Year's resolution: improve the offensive line. I think that they are a team that cannot trade Kyler Murray because I don't know if anybody wants his contract. So what's the next best thing to do is improve a weak offensive line and the interior in particular. Because with Kyler healthy and a decent offensive line, like that is a decent team in the NFC West. Maybe that's like a 7-win team rather than a 4-win team. The Atlanta Falcons. Upgrade a quarterback. The quarterback position is going to cost this team potentially a division title. Desmond Ridder was awful. Taylor Heineke's a backup for a reason. So there's going to be quarterbacks that are available via trade and free agency for Atlanta to pursue. Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, maybe Derek Carr, maybe Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins. So the Falcons, any of those guys I just listed, are upgrades over the combo they trotted out this year. Because with a good quarterback, that team's probably your division winner this year. Because they have a good offensive line and they have good skill positions. And that coach is probably gone too, but that GM should have addressed the quarterback position more. The Baltimore Ravens. Keep Lamar Jackson healthy at all costs. Lamar Jackson's health has derailed the Ravens the past several seasons. And now he's finally healthy, and they're the 1 seed in the AFC. God forbid something happens to him. They're screwed. If I'm the Ravens, sit him this week. So keep him healthy at all costs. Plus, he's super fun to watch. The Buffalo Bills make the Super Bowl. They have not made the Super Bowl in the Josh Allen era. They lost the 13-second game, as we know, a couple years ago. And then they lost at home to the Bengals last year. And then they lost to the Chiefs the year before the 13-second game, too. And this team's so talented, and it just has yet to get over the hump. The Carolina Panthers must nail the coaching hire. This is an absolute must. They must nail the coaching hire. I mean, what else do I have to say? Because Frank Reich was a disaster. Matt Rule was a disaster. And David Tepper is just awful at his job. And he sometimes goes for the sexy toys, but sometimes the sexy toys don't always work out, as we saw with Reich. And then obviously with Matt Rule. So go out, nail the hire. I mean, Jim Harbaugh fits that description, but at least he was a proven head coach on the NFL level with the 49ers all those years ago. And he was better than Matt Rule and Frank Reich. So they have to nail it. The Chicago Bears. Keep Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields these past several weeks has shown that he could be a franchise quarterback. I think he's the top half of the league quarterback now. And if he didn't get injured, the Bears would have been in the playoff hunt. The Cincinnati Bengals. Get Joe Burrow healthy for week 1 next year. Joe Burrow getting injured was the biggest injury of the season. There's no doubt about it in my mind, and I think it obviously changed the trajectory of the season. I think they would have challenged the Ravens for that division. And I think that he would have challenged, as in Burrow, he would have challenged Lamar for the MVP. And I think they could have been the Super Bowl favorites in the AFC. So, get Joe Burrow healthy for week 1, and that's going to be everybody's bounce-back pick to win its division and make the playoffs in 2024. The Cleveland Browns. Get a WR2. I think if this team doesn't go on a run, I think it's going to be because of the lack of weapons. Joe Flacco's playing out of his mind right now. I mean, maybe he turns back into a pumpkin in reality, but Deshaun Watson's going to be their week 1 starting quarterback next year, and he needs a WR2. I don't think Elijah Moore's the guy. Amari Cooper's a 1. We know that. But they need a WR2. The Dallas Cowboys make the NFC Championship game. They haven't made the NFC Championship game since the 1995 season. And that's the same season they last won a Super Bowl in. That's crazy that they haven't made a conference championship round in 28 years. And I think getting to the NFC title game is a successful season for the Dallas Cowboys. Not to step on the theme of next week's power rankings. The Denver Broncos get an impact pass rusher. I genuinely believe that the Denver Broncos' lack of a pass rush is why they are where they are. Russell Wilson isn't why they gave up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins. I think Russell Wilson got too much blame for this season. And obviously Sean Payton took the money and is like, I don't like Russell Wilson. And he benched him, with the front office probably signing off on it because they didn't acquire Russell Wilson. And this ownership didn't acquire Russell Wilson. But they need to get that impact pass rusher like they had with Von Miller in his heyday and then Bradley Chubb early on in his career. So I think that is a big thing for the Denver Broncos if they are to get back into the playoff picture in the AFC next year. The Detroit Lions get an impact defensive back. I think their secondary is weak. C.J. Gardner-Johnson's never healthy. They lost Emmanuel Mosley for the year. And their safeties are not very good. So I think every good team can throw on them. Dallas thrown them a little bit. Obviously, the Ravens did that 1 week. So to me, they need an impact guy in their secondary. The Green Bay Packers. Okay, this is a controversial one. Because this is something I'm on the fence on. But it's something that it might be worth a shot at. I think they need to figure out what to do with Jordan Love. Whether that's extending him or franchise tagging him. But they need to do something with Jordan Love and commit to him for at least next season. I think he's shown enough to at least be their starter next year. But long term, I'm not so sure because this could be this year's Daniel Jones where he's really good this year, they pay him, and then he stinks next year. And the Packers take a step back because of it. So it might be a buyer's remorse situation similar to Daniel Jones, but extending him to me shouldn't be out of the question. Or at least figuring out what to do for at least for next season. The Houston Texans get a WR1. Nico Collins is not a WR1. He's a WR3 on a good team. And CJ Stroud made him a WR1. And that shows to how great of a quarterback CJ Stroud is as a rookie. They need a WR1 in the worst way. Maybe they trade up. Oh, wait, they don't have a first-round pick. Oh, my God. That's a disaster. Well, not that bad of a disaster because Will Anderson's really good, and their first-round pick's going to be in the teens, which is really good for Arizona, which they can take Marvin Harrison with the top 5 pick and then trade up and get a lineman. And that would just be a monster win for Arizona. But maybe they get that WR1 in free agency instead. So, or maybe somebody gets traded. Maybe Devontae Adams, that's a destination for him. Or maybe they'll be in the Mike Evans sweepstakes or something like that. But yeah, Houston, get a WR1. The Colts. get a linebacker to replace Shaq Leonard. I think their defense got worse after Shaq Leonard was released and after he got hurt. And Leonard's a good player, and he was a top 50 asset in the league while he was at his peak with the Colts. So I think they need that linebacker, somebody like how the Ravens added Roquan Smith and changed their defense. The Bears replaced Roquan Smith with Tremaine Edmonds, but it has to be somebody like that. It's probably going to happen in free agency. The Jaguars. Make a change at defensive coordinator or at cornerbacks coach. I feel like their defense has underachieved this season. The entire team's underachieved. And I think they need to make some changes to the coaching staff. I think it'd be too soon to get rid of Doug Peterson after making the playoffs in his first year. So if I'm Doug Peterson, just change your staff a little bit, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. The Kansas City Chiefs. Get a WR1 at all costs. And I wrote that all in capital letters. The biggest weakness on the Kansas City Chiefs is the lack of playmakers on offense. We know that Travis Kelce's getting old. Isaiah Pacheco is getting better, but he seems to be getting hurt a lot. And that's what happens when you trade Tyreek Hill. Your offense gets worse. So I mentioned those guys like Adams and Evans that are going to play for the Chiefs. Evans would be perfect for them. So that would be really good. They need to get a WR1. That's probably the biggest one on here. Los Vegas Raiders. Upgrade the quarterback position. To me, Aiden O'Connell's not the answer. He reminds me a lot of Davis Mills from the Texans, where he would have like interesting performances and then he would just be really, really bad. So maybe he's just a backup. So I think they're going to be in the marketplace for the veterans I mentioned for Atlanta, like Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Kyler, potentially, Kirk Cousins, maybe Baker Mayfield. But yeah, they need to upgrade at the quarterback position. And Jimmy G's not the long-term guy either. Los Angeles Chargers, hire a competent coach. This is a emphasized one as well. The Chargers are probably a playoff team if Bill Belichick or somebody awesome is their coach. So Bill's obviously an option. Jim Harbaugh's an option. Or maybe like an awesome OC, or maybe another coach is available via trade. So the Chargers just need to hire somebody competent and preferably somebody with experience. The Los Angeles Rams. Keep Sean McVay and the core together. I think that the Rams, when healthy, are a team to be reckoned with in the NFC. That was obviously a trap game that they nearly lost last week at the Giants. They're looking ahead to that 49er game and into the postseason. But this team can't be slept on, and they need to keep Sean McVay at all costs and the core together. Because if somebody leaves from that core, say hello to last place in 2024. Or maybe third, because who knows with Seattle and Arizona with Kyler's better. Or it could be better. The Miami Dolphins. Decide on what to do with Tua Tagovailoa. They have not extended him yet. And he is going to be in year 5 next year. So this can't be a storyline It's similar to Green Bay with Jordan Love. Like, figure out what to do. Minnesota, re-sign Kirk Cousins. And obviously extend Justin Jefferson too. But they should re-sign Kirk Cousins. If they would have won that division this year had he not gotten injured. That was a division-changing injury, in my opinion. And from what we saw with Detroit at points this year, and even obviously with the Vikes, with their shortcomings at the quarterback position after Cousins got injured. So Minnesota, just re-sign him and give him a nice deal. Don't overpay. The New England Patriots, draft the quarterback of the future. I think this is more important than the Belichick thing. This is with or without Belichick. They just have to do it. Mac Jones isn't the guy. Bailey Zappi obviously isn't the guy. And they're going to have a top 5 pick. Draft the guy of the future. New Orleans Saints, fire Dennis Allen. I hate that I have to say it like that, but Dennis Allen is the worst coach in that division. He's a worse coach than Todd Bowles. At least Todd Bowles might make the playoffs again with this team without Tom Brady. Arthur Smith's bad. But I guess that's competition. And then obviously, Reich was really bad too. So, like, before the year, we thought this was the worst coach in the division. But he might still be. He was awful with the Raiders. And the Saints probably have the most talent in the division. And Allen is just a common denominator because he worked under Sean Payton as his defensive coordinator. And then he gets promoted to the job when Payton leaves. So, they just need to get a new coach. The New York Football Giants, get new coordinators. This was another one that I could have put, get the next franchise quarterback. But I think that there's a possibility Daniel Jones is their week 1 starter next year. And I know a lot of Giant fans don't want to hear it, but it might be factual. Similar to Geno Smith in Seattle and Kyler Murray in Arizona. So I would just get rid of release Mike Kafka and Wink Martindale. Neither of them have done good jobs this year. Like, people want Wink back, but well, you gave up 30-plus points to the Cowboys and the Eagles every time, so you gotta go. Especially 40-plus to the Cowboys twice. Bye-bye. So it's kind of like a college sport treatment. So I would just get new coordinators and keep Dayball, obviously. And that's a team that has a lot of work to do in the offseason. New York Jets, upgrade the offensive line. This has to be profound. And there's one guy in particular that I think they should get, and that is Green Bay Packers tackle David Bakhtiari. I know everybody's talking about Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. I'm surprised Mason Crosby's not on the Jets right now, honestly. But the Green Bay player they should be targeting is Bakhtiari. And Green Bay is playing well with Adams, so it's like a Ewing theory kind of deal. So maybe they get Bakhtiari. The Philadelphia Eagles, change the defensive coaching staff. Maybe Jonathan Gannon was a bigger loss than we realized. Because he's doing an admirable job despite only winning 4 games this year. And obviously winning as a big dog against Philly and winning as a big dog against Dallas and almost beating the Giants. And they beat the Steelers, and then they beat 3 good teams this year: Dallas, Steelers, and Eagles. And then I think they beat one other team. Was it Atlanta? I forgot. They beat somebody else. Oh, they were competitive with the Niners twice. I mean, I know I'm praising Jonathan Gannon, but he was a big loss for Philly. Matt Patricia's the worst coach I've seen in a long time. Like, they need an entire makeover on the defensive coaching staff in Philadelphia. Pittsburgh Steelers, keep Mike Tomlin at all costs. There's rumors about him potentially being a trade coach, but if I'm Pittsburgh, I keep him. There's a reason he hasn't had a losing season as a head coach. Probably the best coach in the league right now. The San Francisco 49ers win the Super Bowl. This is profound. They're the best team. Best roster, top to bottom. Kyle Shanahan just has never done it. And the narrative's going to get louder and louder and louder if they don't win. And if they don't win in this window that they have, it's going to be because of the Trey Lance pick. That pick might cost them a Super Bowl. There's so many other players that they could have taken, and then they could have obviously kept Jimmy and then discovered Purdy later on without even taking Lance. So they were at the 12th pick. Guess who was picked at 12? Micah Parsons. He could have helped the 49ers. They could have had Rashawn Slater. Maybe they could have moved up to 6. And maybe, I know Miami had the trade down and somebody else had to move up for the quarterback. Maybe the Bears would have moved up to 3 and take Justin Fields. Or the Patriots move up and take Mac Jones. And then if San Fran stays at 12, they could have Micah Parsons. They could have Rashawn Slater. Elijah Vera Tucker. Landon Dickerson. But that's a second rounder. But the big one's Micah Parsons. They could have Micah Parsons or Rashawn Slater. Imagine having Rashawn Slater and Trent Williams on that line, and then they wouldn't have paid McGlinchey. And then if they had Micah, that's just an unbeatable team. But if, say, they moved up to 6, they could have had Waddle, and it would have been Waddle, Ayuk, and Debo. Or they could have had Patrick Surtain. He's a stud in Denver. I mean, there's so many guys. Jamar Chase. They could have taken Jamar Chase at 3 if they wanted to. Or if they stayed at 12 and moved up and got somebody else. But there's so many guys that could have been on the 49ers in theory instead of Trey Lance. And if they had Micah Parsons or Rashawn Slater, they definitely would have won a Super Bowl. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick. The Seattle Seahawks explored finding the quarterback of the future. I think Geno Smith has had a similar season to what Daniel Jones had before Jones tore his ACL. I just don't think Geno's been that good this year. And I think last year was a little bit of an aberration, and it's looking clearer by the day because they're probably not going to make the playoffs. And obviously Drew Lock's not the answer either. And that's another potential regret. They probably should have taken a quarterback with the pick instead of Witherspoon. And Witherspoon's fantastic. But that could be similar to the Giants passing on Josh Allen and Lamar in 2018, or the Falcons passing on the quarterback the last couple of years for Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson. So, similar situation potentially looming for Seattle. Tampa Bay re-signed Baker Mayfield. Hot take alert. Yes. Baker's been great this year, except for obviously last week against New Orleans. But they should re-sign Baker. But that could be another Daniel Jones situation, though. But I would do it. Tennessee. Keep Mike Vrabel at all costs. This is a loud, emphatic one as well. I think Vrabel's an excellent coach. I know he didn't have a good year this year, but he had a ton of injuries and a rookie quarterback playing most of the season. And that team just isn't very good. And Vrabel, if Vrabel wasn't their coach, they would be battling with the Bears with the Panthers pick for the first overall pick. Or they would have been where the Patriots and the Giants are, in that 4-5. Or they are in that range right now, but they would have been just as bad as them. But Tennessee's not as bad as those teams. I just feel like they got injured this year. And you know, I agree hearing the Vrabel to New England rumors. They need to keep Vrabel. And then Washington, New Year's resolution, do a complete reset. You need a new coach. You need a new quarterback. And that could be next year's Houston if they pick the right quarterback and if they hire the right coach. But that doesn't necessarily mean playoffs next year because the Texans might not even make the playoffs this year. So that could be next year's Houston with the right quarterback and coach. So there you have it for the New Year's resolutions, NFL style. Now we'll do the news and notes. For today, not a lot of news and notes. College, so women's college, Caitlin Clark had a buzzer beater as she wins it from the logo to cap off a 40-point night. She's a star. We talked about her a little bit on yesterday's podcast. Good news for Washington. Dylan Johnson expected to suit up for the Huskies in the college football playoff championship game. So that's exciting. Brock Bowers declared for the draft. That's not surprising. He's going to be a top 10 pick, maybe top 5 pick. Who knows? He needs to get drafted by the Chargers. That's like the perfect Charger. I've watched him end up on the Jets. 27.2 million watched Michigan, Alabama as the college football playoff semifinal was a top 10 cable telecast of all time. Wow. Kirk Herbstreit says that the Rose Bowl should host the national championship every year. I don't hate that take. But at the same time, that's UCLA's home field advantage. And UCLA, it would be like a home game for them if they were to make the title. So that's where I disagree with Kirk a little bit, but I don't hate it. So Jim Harbaugh's parents were very happy after the Rose Bowl win. And another funny Rose Bowl thing, Connor Stallions was spotted in the stands watching the game. That's so funny. And how about this? There were Texas fans that were feuding with Washington players as things got heated after the Sugar Bowl. And speaking of Texas, Xavier Worthy declares for the draft. That's a big loss for the Longhorns. This is interesting. The Cardinals are keeping Kyler in 2024. Jonathan Gannon says there is no doubt Murray will be QB1 next season. Wow, that's strong. Well, I wrote down the New Year's resolutions before that came out, but wow. So that's good news for somebody like the Giants who might want to part ways with Daniel Jones and draft a quarterback. Because that takes Kyler off the market. It looks like Justin Fields is off the market too. So Atlanta might be staring at Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson. Panthers owner fined $300,000 for unacceptable conduct after throwing drink at a fan on Sunday. And he also may be suspended and could also face a substantial fine. Holy crap. The Jets and Dalvin Cook part ways as he now has an opportunity to play for a playoff team. Now the question is, who is it? Will he go to Dallas to play with Tony Pollard? That makes sense because Tony Pollard hasn't proven to be the man this year after he was a breakout pick by many that hasn't lived up to hype. He won't go to Philly. He won't go to the Lions. He won't go to the Bucks or the NFC South winner, for that matter. He won't go to the Niners. The Rams, Kyron Williams has broke out this year, so, no. The Bills have James Cook. He's broke out this year. Will it be Miami if Mostert's not healthy? Pittsburgh, Najee Harris has kind of come alive lately, so has Jaylen Warren, so that doesn't make sense. But the one that makes sense is the Ravens, because Mitchell got hurt, and Gus Edwards, he was an upgrade over Gus Edwards. So the Ravens make sense. The Cowboys make sense. Maybe Houston, is he an upgrade over Singletary? Probably. And I could see the Chiefs making some sense on paper, too, because they need pass catchers. So the Chiefs kind of make sense, too. I'm surprised Zach Ertz never signed with anybody. Because they're talking about him for the Chiefs. So, yeah. We'll see where he lands. And then the NFL sends an eligibility memo as they remind players to clearly report as eligible after Cowboys-Lions drama. So, Yoshinimo Yamamoto has an opt-out in his contract linked to elbow health. Interesting. Then Man United to loan Sancho as Dortmund is in talks with Sancho about return to Bundesliga, so keep an eye out for that for soccer. So there you have it for the news and notes. Last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I hate betting on a team I root for best bet, but I have to do it here. The Chicago Bulls have a shit ton of injuries. Their best players here, Kobe White is out. And the Knicks are giving less than 10. Maybe I'm falling for the injury trap again, but I don't care. I'm laying a quarter unit on the New York Knicks. -9 against the Bulls. This is going to be a blowout. They love playing in nationally televised games, this group. You're going to be hearing a lot of exciting bang calls from Mike Breen, assuming he's calling the game. As he should he? Probably should be in LA, but they'll probably put him in New York because favoritism towards the team he is the voice of. So I'm going to lay the 9 with the Knicks. This is going to be a blowout. They're going to win this game by 17 points. So Knicks -9 against the Bulls. Best bet of the day. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything. We'll get to everything for tomorrow. And then we have golf and we have MLB New Year's resolutions to do as well. Have a great day, everyone.